Arjen, so great to finally meet once again. It's been quite a while since we last met on YouTube with the time difference, and to think a year ago, just launching on Indiegogo, the FlexBeam. So first of all, congratulations. A year later, can you believe it's a year already?
I cannot. It is insane. It's gone so quick, and there's so much has happened both within our company and the world at large. It's been quite the year, and I guess that's true for most people. It's gone real fast, but I'm super stoked and excited because the feedback that we're getting is awesome, and people love the product. And yeah, I mean, so far so good, man. We've learned a lot, and we've come a long way in this year, so I'm very excited, and it's looking good for us. I think the demand for our product has shown that that people like it and that it works well, and yeah, I'm super stoked.
It really is fantastic. Everything that the company seems to do is first class from a quality product. The website looks beautiful, and just everything that the company really tries to put out really is fantastic. So first of all, why don't you just introduce yourself briefly, and we'll dive in a little bit and talk about the FlexBeam and some other topics around that.
Sure. So I'm the CTO here at Recharge, and the chief designer, so to say, for this guy over here that you can see in your background. And yeah, I take care of all things technical in the company. And that means anything from product design to improvements to manufacturing to yeah, making sure that everybody gets a very reliable and high quality product out there.
How are things been going with parts and chips and those things that you're hearing that there's a shortage? How is that coming along as far as being able to get the product out?
It's coming along well. It's hard. It's as hard as it's ever been. I mean, I've been doing this for like 20 years, so I've got quite a lot of experience designing and manufacturing electronics. And it's never been as hard as it is now, but we have been able to make some deals with the different manufacturers whose parts we use, and we get delivery, and it's sufficient as of now, so we can keep rolling, which is a good thing. Which took quite some effort in the last 6 months, but yeah, looking good.
Yeah, that's great. So
Yeah.
red light therapy, obviously, as you shared in our last conversation, it's been around for a long time. A lot of people are looking to take care of their own home health care, self-sufficiency. Maybe you can kind of talk just a little bit about red light therapy and how that helps people and how they can treat themselves with that in their home.
Well, I mean, I think it's becoming more and more obvious that it's a big advantage to have something that you own that's in your house that you can use whenever you need it. And the type of product that we offer basically allows for an acceleration of your own body taking care of itself. And a lot of people deal with that kind of stuff. If you have aches or pains, or if you have issues that you want to resolve, this is a great tool, and it's also true for sporters. If you want to reduce soreness, muscle soreness, if you want to recover faster and better, then this is a great way to do it. And you can do it in the comfort of your own home. As you can see, this is not like a massive thing that you need to hang on the wall or something. This is a small, portable, but powerful device that you can use on your body where you need it. And I think that approach is proving to become more and more popular. So people like the fact that they don't have to stand in front of something for 10 to 20 minutes. They can just wrap it on, strap it on, and go about their day, do what they do, because it is a rechargeable, like a battery operated device. And you're not really sacrificing anything where it comes to efficacy or power. So, that's definitely a big plus. And I mean, we can see now people are more hesitant to go out and go to hospitals and do that kind of stuff. And it's great, I think, to have more independence in that sense, right? It's kind of like, I see it as like an insurance policy of some sorts, right? Like not all the way, of course. I mean, this is not a magic bullet or nothing, but it's a great thing to have in the home. It makes me feel, yeah, safer and more secure that I have something that I can use when need be, and that's a big plus to me. So I use it every day. I use it, I use it over here to keep everything there in as good a condition as I can. I use it to sleep with because it helps me like quite well. I mean, I use this every night before going to bed, every single night. And if I don't use it, it takes me another 20 to 30 minutes to get to sleep. Now, that's a personal anecdote, but I've heard a lot of our customers say that it improves their sleep. And guess what? If you sleep better, you're in a better health condition. Everything else is related to how well you sleep. So, these are pretty big things. They're not like tiny details in how you live or how you feel. That makes a significant difference.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I wake up to go to the bathroom during the night, and sometimes it's a struggle to fall back to sleep. And during the day, if you don't get a good night's sleep, it really affects you. Absolutely.
It does.
So you make a good point. Now, I started to see here in America, there's other products that are wearables, but they're just a light versus where you have a light and the fan, and it makes a noise. Anything as people start looking and seeing some of these other devices that are wearable and just lights, anything yet maybe you can just share how the FlexBeam differentiates.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a 3-year tuning process for us here to get this device to be as effective as we can get it to be. So if you look at the kind of light sources we use, the wavelengths that we're using, the power mix, the fact that it's not just something you turn on with an egg timer. It's a dynamic treatment profile of light that comes in and out, that mixes different wavelengths together. And it took a long time to tune that right. And I think one of the major differences between us and or the FlexBeam and most other products out there is just the degree of fine tuning and the degree of optimization that went into developing this product is stellar compared to most other products.
Yeah, that's great.
It's really a big difference. Most other products are made by a generic panel manufacturer somewhere in China that used to make grow lights, and then they realized, oh yeah, we can swap out these LEDs for 850s and see if it sells. And some companies picked up on that, and they started selling these large panels, and essentially you're just buying a grow light for your body. I mean, I'm not saying that that's wrong or that it doesn't work. I mean, it can work as well, but it's just not as fine-tuned and slick as what we're offering.
And obviously having the fans is creating quite a bit of heat, and what it's if I'm correct on that, as far as the way the red light works, and just making sure that it helps stay with the fans, keep the device cooler by running the fans, and then ultimately putting out a red light level that is very effective.
It's about power levels, and it's about power, the mix of light that you get. Basically, you can say if a device doesn't have a fan, it's not going to be a difference that makes a big difference.
Right.
That's really the thing. My goal was in the design of this product is to get something made. It's a difference that makes a difference. It's something that is, after you use it for 1 or 2 times, you're like, okay, this works. That was the goal.
Yep.
And I think we have achieved that goal. And the other thing was the panels are functional. However, you need to use something like this on a daily basis. You really need to incorporate it into your daily routine. If you want to have the maximum benefit out of this, you need to incorporate it into your daily routine. And for a lot of people to stand in front of a panel twice a day for 10 to 15 minutes it's not attractive enough. And then you don't get the compliance. So people don't use it every day. And if you don't use it every day, you don't get the benefits. So the whole point here was, how do we make something that is so effortless to use, so easy to use and to apply, and doesn't waste your time? Because you can just apply this device and go about your day, do what you normally do. So it's not a sacrifice where it comes to time. And what I've noticed is that makes a huge difference for people. I mean, 70% of our customers say, I have incorporated this into my daily routine, and I would recommend this product to any one of my friends. That's a good sign that the design approach that we have, which is radically different to pretty much any other red light therapy company out there, is actually working well and is well received, and people incorporate it into their daily routine and have good results with that.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so pleased, and that's great information that you shared. Now, I know we've talked a lot as well about humans. Let's talk about pets. We all love our furry animals. You've got a whole lot of cats.
I do.
I used to have a dog, many people are using red light therapy on their pets, or may not even thought about that. So maybe can you share a little bit about that for cats and dogs and other animals?
Yeah, of course. So this technology works on mammals, period.
There you go.
Pretty much any mammal.
Simple.
So my cat's at home, and I was actually kind of surprised. And I was like, okay, the litmus test for this is, will an animal like it, or will an animal shy away from it? So I tried that, and I had a cat that was injured, and I put the FlexBeam over the cat, and I kind of arched it over. You can use the bands that come with the device, right? So you can make an arch out of this.
Yeah.
And I placed it over the cat, and she loved it. She just sat there, super comfortable, kind of stretching herself and chilling for the entire 10-minute treatment time. And it really made me smile. It's awesome. So my cats at home, they use it and they love it. And they go and sit through the entire treatment. And I use either protocol setting 1 or 2 for them. 3 is a bit too powerful, especially for smaller animals. So for smaller animals, 1 or 2 is fine. And if they walk away, that's also not a problem. Hopefully they get a few minutes of treatment in. But it's like with kids. It's the same thing. They don't lie. If it works for them, they'll stay there and sit there. And if it's comfortable, they'll stay there and sit there. And at some point, they stand up and walk away. And that's the subconscious saying, okay, I'm done. This is, this is what I needed. This is what I wanted. It came up to the threshold that I wanted. And that's a subconscious thing. And, young kids, like I have a 3-year-old girl at home that works that way. She falls down, she hurts herself, she takes the FlexBeam, she uses it. And then after 4 minutes, she's done, she walks away. Okay, that's good. And it's the same with animals. You put it on, if it benefits them, they'll stay. If they feel I've got enough, they'll go away. And that's fine. That's just right. That's the thing that as adults, we pay much less attention to. We don't really hear that little bell wrinkling somewhere like ding, ding, okay, this is enough. We're much more rational, and we are a little bit less in touch with that. You could say that innate feedback mechanism. So this is what I noticed, and for my cats, they normally sit up the entire 10 minutes, and they seem to really enjoy it. It's like obviously start purring even. It's uncanny. It's really, really fun. And I have colleagues here, of course, that have dogs at home, and it's the same for the dogs. They seem to enjoy it. They sit through the full 10 minutes. They seem to improve. If you have a dog with, let's say, an arthritic condition, or it doesn't walk well, or it got injured and needs to heal, this works as well on humans as it does on animals.
No, that's great. Talk about the 3 levels. I know it was interesting. I had a friend that used mine, and she had said that she found like level 2 worked better for her than level 3. So any thoughts as far as what's the right level? I guess it really depends, and everybody's going to react different to their body, but any thoughts as far as, really, picking which level is appropriate for them?
Sure. So the FlexBeam comes with 3 settings, and that's not really like a traditional, let's say a gas burner, low, medium, high. It's a little bit more thought through than that. So you have 3 protocols, and those protocols are dynamic protocols. So you have different frequencies, you have different, you could say, sweeping of different light wave frequencies, or different colors, as we would say. and they have different function. So for the first setting is lower power is more red in the mixture than infrared, and it's primarily targeted at skin issues and at topical problems, things that are not very deep. So you use it for eczema, you use it for any kind of skin issue or rashes or skin damage, like if my little one falls down, face plants herself, which she tends to do so now and then.
Little kids.
That's what I use. It's also, if you want to use that for the face, the device comes with a pair of goggles. You can hold it like this with about 20 centimeters distance to your face. You can use setting 1, and it's really great for the skin. It helps the skin to rejuvenate. It helps blood flow in the skin. And that's great, and it gives a visible result. I mean, my wife looks younger than ever now. It's really, really effective in that sense. So it's great.
Yeah.
Setting 2 is more, you could say, general use, and I use that on my lungs. I use that if I have a stomach issue. I've had irritable bowel syndrome for most of my life, right? So I had issues with digestion, and this helps. Setting 2 helps that as well. It helps the microbiome to thrive. And I combine that with eating lots of fermented food like kefir and yogurt and good prebiotics and probiotics. So that's a helpful thing to do. So basically, if you don't really know which setting to use setting 2. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to harm you anyway. So it's going to be enough for most scenarios. Then we have setting 3. Setting 3, it is roughly 90% infrared, 10% red light. And that is to get deep. So if you have a hip issue or you have some kind of deep problem that you try to reach that target, then setting 3 offers enough deep penetration power, because the infrared light can penetrate about 3 times as deep as red light. So that's a significant difference.
How many inches? How many inches? Because I know some people will say, "Well, how deep does it penetrate?" If somebody were to think like here in America, any idea how many inches it penetrates into the body?
Roughly 4 inches.
Okay.
Roughly 4 inches. It doesn't shine all the way through. It can get about 4 inches deep, and all the energy is absorbed. So another difference with most other products is if you have a product like ours, it touches the skin. It actually sits on top of the skin. So that's kind of, you could say you're injecting that optical energy, like you have here the lens. If that touches the skin, all of that energy goes in. And that's a big difference as compared to a panel, for instance, where you have much more stray light. You lose a lot of the light because you have to stand at a certain distance. You're standing at around 10 centimeters or 15 centimeters away from it. At least 40% of that light is going to either bounce off or pass straight by you. This actually injects that light through the skin into your body, and that means you can get deeper. And the other pretty thing about this is a flexible device. So if I bend this around the knee, the light goes into the knee from 3 different angles, and it overlaps where you need it the most. That's something you cannot do with any other of the products that I've seen at the power levels that we have in this product. I've seen older products that are like neoprene mats with integrated LEDs, but the power levels just aren't there. If there's no heat sink on it, if there's no active cooling, if there's no fan inside, you can bet your bottom dollar you're not going to get quite enough energy as you need to get a difference that makes a difference.
And some of these panels, like Juve, for example, they say, you're supposed to stand X distance away from the panel. We're here using red light therapy and we're putting it on our skin. So if somebody says, how safe can it be if you can put it on your skin? Where somebody might say, we're supposed to stand a certain distance away from a panel. In case that comes up in somebody's mind. And anything sharing that?
Yeah, of course. Very safe, because I know exactly what the distance of the skin to the device is. So I can tune with the way we designed the device and the LEDs that we use and the power levels that the device goes through. I know exactly how much power is going to be where, because I know what the distance is. The panel manufacturers don't know what the distance is. They don't know how people use it. I know how people use it. They put it on the skin because that's what it's designed to do. So you get exactly the same dose with every treatment. Exactly the same amount of energy goes into your body at every treatment. I don't think there's hardly any other product that can make that claim.
Good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Moving, since we're talking about Juve, and you did a video about EMFs and comparing
Yes.
the FlexBeam versus the Juve Go and even a cell phone. So maybe you could just spend just a little bit of just talking about things that people should be aware about EMFs. And I will add in this video of that video that you have put together.
Sure. Yeah. So EMF stands for electromagnetical frequencies. And basically it's radio waves. And every device that has anything more than a light bulb emits these electromagnetic waves. And there's a huge frequency range over which they can emit that. Well, the cell phone, we all know, it has a Wi-Fi radio, it's got a Bluetooth radio, it's got a cellular radio built in, and it has lots of circuitry built in. And the circuitry itself also emits radio waves. And these radio waves are not necessarily good for us. This is why I never sleep with my cell phone next to my bed. I try not to keep it in my pocket. It's a concern for me, and it's a concern for most other people. Now, for me, this is a little bit more obvious because on one hand, I'm an electronics design engineer. And at the other hand, I have a very strong interest in whatever is medical subjects out there, because my passion in life is to make devices that help people heal. That's what I just love to do. So I read lots and lots of studies into this subject. And every time I read a study that looks at the influence of electromagnetic waves on human beings and also on animals, the effects are never good. It's always a downside. So in my design philosophy, I try to make devices that have as low EMF profile as possible by design, by proper circuit board layout, by component selection, by making a device as low in radio emissions as possible, and also making a conscious decision. I don't want a Wi-Fi module in there. I don't want a Bluetooth module in there, because in my philosophy, that doesn't belong in the bedroom. That doesn't belong on your body. It's not natural, right? So I don't think that is a good idea. So I made the conscious decision to design devices with as low EMF as possible. Now we have different devices here to measure EMFs. We have a spectrum analyzer, so I can measure any kind of high frequency output, any kind of radio wave area output from the device. And I also look at magnetic profile. I look at basically all the aspects that are around EMFs, and I compare that to other devices that we already know, that we're familiar with. So in that video, I try to kind of simplify things, because this is a very complex subject. It took me years to understand all of this stuff and to acquire the equipment to be able to measure it. It's highly complex. So it's a very confusing subject for most people. So I try to make it as simple as possible. I have a shielded room. I put 3 different things in there, and I show on the spectrum analyzer what comes out of it. So if you put it in a shielded room, it means you're not picking up any TV stations, radio stations, cellular stations, or whatever. You're not picking up any of that stuff. You lock that out. And I put a cell phone in there to give a baseline. Okay, everybody has a cell phone. So this is the average radiation that comes out of a cell phone, and you can see that on the screen. Then I put a FlexBeam in there to show how much radiation comes off a FlexBeam. And then I put a Juve Go, another portable red light therapy device in there. And I compared the 3 to see which one performs the best on EMC, EMF. And you can see that the FlexBeam has a very, very low profile of emissions there. I think probably the lowest in its power class on the market, because this is not a trivial thing. This is hard to do. It took me, let me see now, about 9 revisions of circuit board layout to get that EMF as low as possible, to pick the right components, to do the correct layout. It's not an easy task. And we pass these tests with with flying colors. We have a very, very low magnetic radiation output on our device. I think in our power class we must be the lowest.
Well, congratulations to you. That is fantastic. And talking
yeah,
about
it's good.
Yeah, really is well done. And
what I'd like to show you today is how much EMF comes from different devices and how we measure that. We use a device called a spectrum analyzer to measure these radio signals. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a cell phone in my test box. It's made of stainless steel, it's a double layer, and then we close the lid and the top. And over here we have 2.433 gigahertz. This is the Wi-Fi band. So because my cell phone is in there, it's trying to connect on Wi-Fi, and we can see that by the Wi-Fi peaks that we get over there. We also will get some cellular peaks over here, probably around 800 or so. Oh, you can see now it's transmitting. Currently, you can see the accumulated emissions of this cell phone. I use the peak hold function to see where does it transmit at which frequencies and how powerful are those transmissions. The cell phone gives a lot of EMF emissions. Here we have a FlexBeam. Gonna put it in the most powerful setting, setting 3, and hit play. And I'm gonna put it in the box and close the box. There it goes. Click. Extra shielding. This is what the spectrum looks like with the FlexBeam inside. It is very much significantly lower than what we get from a cell phone. And the only thing that we're still getting here is we're getting a little bit of Wi-Fi that's leaking into the box, but that is not emitted by the FlexBeam because the FlexBeam doesn't have Wi-Fi. Well, how does that compare to another device? Because of course we're not the only red light device on the market. Okay, FlexBeam. And then here, we're going to make a comparison, EMF, between the Juve Go and the FlexBeam. So I'm going to turn it on, and then we're going to put it inside. I'm going to close the lid, make sure we got nothing in from outside. We're going to get the accumulated reading. So the yellow line is the FlexBeam. We can omit this because this is a Wi-Fi signal. This does not come from the devices, not from the Juve and not from the FlexBeam. But the rest of there, you can see there's a very significant difference between Juve and FlexBeam. The Juve Go peaks at around 650 megahertz, but I think it speaks for itself. We have done a lot to keep our devices quiet and low EMF as possible.
Talking about EMFs, which was great, wearing multiple FlexBeams, one, how is it safe to wear multiple FlexBeams, and two, how would that have an impact as well in regards to EMFs if you're wearing two at any time? Obviously, I guess if it has low frequency, would there be any effect that way?
Well, I mean, if you're looking at total amount of energy put out, I think if you cover yourself in FlexBeams and turn them all on, you're still way below one single cell phone in your pocket. Way below.
Wow.
That's the comparison. I mean, it's an order of magnitude lower than your cell phone.
Yeah.
Huge difference. So it's really not something to be concerned about.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a design philosophy thing. This is something that most other companies don't look at that much. Most other companies are concerned by, can we pass the bar of international standards, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that way. I think the opposite way is like, how can I minimize this thing from the get-go, from the start of the design? I want no EMF, nothing. Yeah. I know that that's probably not possible, but what is the minimum target that I can get? What is the lowest EMF output that I can do? And I look at that straight from the get-go when I design a new product. So I test 20 different ICs to see which one has the best performance. That's how I do that. I make different circuit boards, I test different ICs, I test different layouts until it is as low as I can possibly make it, which is different. It's the opposite for most manufacturers where they're like, okay, we need a CE certificate, we need a UL certificate, let's stay below legal limits. that's not the approach that we take here.
As far as using 2 flex beams at one time, and just a couple last things.
Yeah.
If there is an area in your body that you wouldn't want to use 2 flex beams near each other, where would that be? Is there any limits or things that you shouldn't or shouldn't do as far as when you use 2 at one time?
I would say for most areas it's fine. All your legs, your arms, you can use 2 at the same time. Your back, your chest. I would not place it straight over your heart, because I've heard some people that say that it doesn't feel comfortable for them, and I don't know what your heart condition is or what anyone else's heart condition is. If that's a weakness, then I would avoid it. For the lungs, it's awesome to use 2 at the same time, and it's also a very soothing experience. So you can use one here and one over there. That's great. I'll grab one more and show you.
You can put one right on the center of your chest, right?
So we have 2 versions, right? We
Yeah.
have a black and a white, so it's kind of nice to show that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would use it like this. So over the heart like this. There's no FlexBeam, but side to side there is. This is a great way of using the device, and for your back and shoulders as well. It's awesome. It's very comfortable.
People have asthma, maybe.
I mean, it boosts the body's ability to fix itself. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
great.
It adds energy to the body.
Great stuff.
So where not to do it, it's not made to be used as a mohawk. it's not meant for your yeah, it's not meant for your head to treat that. It's not designed to do that. It's designed for pretty much everything else, but not for that.
Okay, great. And just as far as anything new and exciting that's coming out you could share, or I'm sure you got a lot of things up your sleeve that you're working on.
Right now, there is a list of different things that I'm working on. I cannot disclose that yet. When the time is right, you'll be the first to know. Yeah. Because for now, to keep the FlexBeam in production is a challenge, and to do the component selection for our future product line, which, trust me, we are working on, it's tricky. Yeah, it's tricky right now, and that's the same for everybody. I mean, even Toyota is, openly complaining about it and saying, we're going to shut down a plant because we can't get parts. So yeah, for a new product line, we have a vision for our company, and we are going to come out with some really interesting, effective healthcare products. It's going to be cool, and I think more and more people will wake up to the idea that instead of masking your pain, or instead of taking a medicament that is not designed to fix your problem, it doesn't really help you, man.
Yeah.
You got to find a way around it, and you got to think why, not just devices, but, lifestyle, the food you eat, the stress you're under, all that kind of stuff. You got to have a wide scope, and there's lots of stuff that you can do for a lot of different conditions to get that quality of life to go up. And I think what's going on in the world right now is probably making a lot of people think, like, okay, what makes sense? What is a good approach to this? How wide should I go? Should I only listen to one advisor on this? Or, right now it's never been easier to get information, right?
Yeah, sure is.
I think a lot of people are starting to get interested in thinking, okay, there's actually quite a lot I can do. And there is, and that's great. It's a big positive vibe that I can feel at the moment. Yeah,
very, very true. Well, I really appreciate your time. I just love the product. I think the design is amazing. And one thing which we never even talked about is how you design. So if you ever need to replace one of the lights, easy replacement ability there. And so.
Yeah, absolutely. I started my career as a repair guy, man. That's what I used to do, and I stay true to that,
Yeah.
So Right to Repair, I don't know if you heard of that. There's a guy in New York, Louis Rosman. He is an Apple repair guy, and he's fighting for America's right to repair. And I love the guy, and I think he's doing a very admirable job on that. And I fully support it. So if you ever have any kind of maintenance issues or whatever else, you contact us. You can get the parts from us. You can get help. You can get pretty much everything you need to fix your FlexBeam. If that's ever the case, you get 100% support from our side. We're not going to give you a quote for 80% of the value of the thing. No. Parts are available, fans, batteries, circuit boards, everything. Whatever you need to keep your FlexBeam running, we will support you. So it's the opposite of what Apple's doing.
Great, great. Well, we've covered a lot today. I really appreciate you joining me, and we'll have to look forward to chatting again as you have new products. And thank you so much for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you too, man. Speak to you soon.
Thank you. Be safe.
All right.
Take care.